My goal is to achieve $50,000 in revenue for the company on a monthly basis. In order to do all this, I will have to be in the top shape of my life. I want to complete my Profit Engines book with these 13-stage models, build these world-class connections with people, and expand my network of mastermind groups. All right. So in order for you to maximize for 2025, I'd like you to think about the top 10 things that you would like to do. Now, I am going to do mine so you have an example. But the reality is that if you're smart enough, and I think you are, to recognize that we work on looking at to shape ourselves into production of what we want, meaning that if it's in front of us, it's available to our mind, and our vision sets our goals. So our vision needs to be set properly. And in order to do that, you have to see these things. Now, I complain a lot to myself about making lists of lists and how they don't work. Major goals, major programming of your brain, major thoughts around what you're trying to accomplish in both short run and long run are extremely important. So let's get into 2025's goals that I have set up for myself. And more important is to understand your overall mantra, what you're trying to do. Now, mantra is something that is a sequence of things that you think about in your mind that represent why you're trying to do the goals overall. So let's get into a mantra. You can potentially even reuse my mantra if you want, but I embrace the challenges ahead with excitement and purpose, knowing that they are the gateway to personal growth, meaningful impact, a better world around me. Each day when I wake up, I will be energized by the knowledge that my life can be truly exceptional if, and only if, I dedicate myself to living with the intention and executing on the purpose. This journey is about becoming the person I deeply admire, who is not only inspirational on hope, but uplifts others through action, sharing the lessons of life, and leading by example. By amplifying my voice and celebrating progress, I commit to a story worth a path of remarkable achievements, meaningful accolades, and a legacy that reflects the best version of myself while leaving the world a better place for those to follow. That is a mantra. I call this the Living Louder plan. In fact, this is actually going to turn into a book after I finish my Profit Engines book, which is part of obviously 2025's top 10 goals. So let's get into the goals. For me, the number one thing is to become a player. Now, when I mean player, you look behind me, and I think you get the idea. I spent a lot of my life in the music space. I enjoy performing, but I've um, tended to be more of a singer songwriter, and I've always wanted to go back to my roots where I was a solo guitar player when I first was in bands and did rock music. And my goal is improving soloing, singing, and overall performance to excel at inevitably just solo work in 2026. So I want to be able to spend a year, what they call woodshedding, and focus on self-expression and enjoyment during my shows, which is really a different place for me to be, and something I've always wanted to do as I, go through my years of growth as a musician. The action plan here is, and this is important about this, each one of these goals has to have an action plan, is to dedicate 120 minutes daily to lead guitar practice, focusing, scales, and obviously improvisation and solos for specific songs, but incorporate structured lessons and regular sessions of jamming. Uh, the only other thing that really helps here is vocal development, because my vocal development has been meager at best, and I've tried to put some effort towards it. But this year will be the first one I'm really trying to get my vocal development started as becoming more of a soloist, so that I can take a soloist approach on both guitar and vocals. Again, exercises and live singing weekly, and then targeting expanded ranges and staminas. And that also has to deal with fitness. And then performing, right? So create opportunities in small and solo performances that really define and get my confidence up in doing and redefining my stage presence to be able to do solo performances. This is important in so many different ways because it really does create what I would call the sort of push through, which is that, if as you become a player, you don't need to have other people around you. You can actually do everything on your own. And so this is an important step in 2025. The second thing is financial freedom. My goal is to achieve $50,000 in revenue for the company on a monthly basis and 20,000 in profit through a mix of coaching, agency services, affiliate marketing, and SaaS. The action plan is doing the coaching and consulting, which I'm doing today, and we're starting to see that grow. Design and market a scalable one-on-one group coaching program with a clear niche and focus. Affiliate marketing. Again, it created a list of folks who would be interested in learning about being in the digital marketing business. Build a SaaS model using Go High Level, and then obviously all the other entries that come through those processes through our team doing fulfillment. I believe 50,000 a month is a very, very doable achievement. After selling my business earlier this year, I got such brighter horizons on having a less complicated business, but one that still rewards me with the financial freedom. So we've got a goal in mind with a profitability structure. Building a personal brand. So this is interesting because my goal has always been to develop a cohesive brand, blending the music, the business, and differentiating myself and growing my tribe of people that would be interested in my journey and want to learn and so forth. And I think that is a fascinating strategy for anyone today. As we start to sort of become omnipresent of all these social channels, is having a personal brand and being consistent, right? So the content strategy, which is really what I've honed in on the ending of this year, which is now starting to emulate, which is to publish 5 to 10 pieces of content a week on different types of strategy, both short and long. Public speaking. I really want to speak at 5 personal speaking events this year in 2025, meaning I want to be at 5 different events that will take into account what I'm building and why I'm building it. And I think that these are the things that really develop and design your life for better articulation of making sure that you're actually doing the things that you need to do, because it forces you to publicly show up. And then cross-branding. So cross-branding is really managing and merging the musical concepts of what I'm doing with health and lifestyle, behind the scenes stuff that I do on a daily basis on doing shorts, with these entrepreneurial messages to connect to audiences. So really developing a market for myself that I'm the actual avatar. And that's the cool thing, is that to build a brand that develops people that want to emulate and be better at themselves and have these goals to grow their own personal brand. I think it's a really cool idea. I really dig it. I think it fits well in my coaching strategies and the things that I do today. So the fourth thing is that in order to do all this, I will have to be in the top shape of my life. And I'm lucky that I don't have injuries or things to be worried about, but really I have to be able to have that maintainment of energy, the confidence, especially if I'm on stage, whether it's music or it's a speaking gig, really what I would call shirt off worthy physique. And a lot of people criticized me, which I love, by the way, of playing gigs over the summer without a shirt off, and I had a good enough physique. I wasn't fat, but I wasn't exactly where I'd like to be. So I think this year we'll see a little bit different because I have a lot of uh, more, I would say, time to develop because I really now am in the kind of everyday habit of things that I want to do in order to improve my core agility and to really have strength training as part of my life. Again, that means committing to 5 days a week in the gym, focusing really on strength, cardiovascular, again, 5 days a week with, I'm doing 2 to 3 miles a day. And I really like to get to a point where that's super consistent. Diet and supplements, again, that's the hardest thing probably for anybody who's in a training regimen is to stay on a really good diet. I've done that so far. I've lost 40 pounds. And so I'm definitely in the range of where I'd like to be, but I could certainly um, get my metrics better. And then again, checking the boxes for that sustainable routine. Got to do things that are sustainable. If they can't be sustainable, then you won't do them. I think I've gotten to a point of timing during the day and things that it makes sense for me, which is really an important thing to do as you start to get into the framework of trying to get this top shape capability. Uh, the fifth, and for me, something that will be unique and maybe not for you, but for me, is my own original music. Whether you're writing a book or writing music or writing uh, a, a story, my goal is to release another 4-song EP this uh, year titled Somebody Someday. Basically, again, showing off this solo capability that I'm developing, and then collaboratively working, obviously, with my bandmates and musicians. Um, Again, I'm dedicating myself to biweekly sessions to write and refine songs, and focus on emotional depth and connection to the audiences because that's where it's worked out. And I've started to learn more as I release, last year's album, what coincides with resonance, production, and partner with a trusted producer to allocate studio time for this. I've already got those people in mind, and we're working together on production. And then post uh, album is really push a marketing development on this. I'm going to be learning this year on marketing and pushing out and defining a strategy around getting the music into the social channels and also into Spotify and other places where it makes sense for me to have that connection and also to develop an audience from that, and then pair it with the visuals. So I really do think this year will be the first year we'll go off script, meaning it won't be a recording of the band at the studio where we typically would do just us playing the music. We're going to start to reinforce the theme of the video or the music by using real cinematography to create a real video, something I've always wanted to do. Talked about it, but this will be the first year we're going to start working on getting real, what I would say, produced movies from the video out the door. And that is something that I think, from my point, is the key to really changing my narrative on how I look at these songs. Sixth thing that I'd like to do is the goal is to perform 10 solid shows out there, targeting festivals and showcase events. I'm going to hire 2 people, which I've already hired, to reach out to festival organizations and local event managers, reconnect with the ones I played at last year, and then put together more creative set lists that target a better dynamic, more audience-friendly, engaging 45-minute sets. So really engage the crowd with a different subset of songs that we haven't usually played, and then stuff that I've always wanted to play. Um, More practice on down periods, especially now in the early spring, when I really dedicate my life to other things that are family related for the first 3 or 4 months of the year because I just don't have a choice. And then I really want to connect with other players, drummers, guitar players, and alternatives, because sometimes we just don't have the right staff to play out because people are busy or have vacations or just can't make events. So I've got to have more people that are interested in being in my world and being out in their world. So very important to have a mix of folks that still who understand that, it's flexible architecture, and this is just kind of the way it is in the music world, because not everybody's available for everything, every single show. And especially when it comes to summers, when it's busy and there's a lot of shows going on, there has to be alternatives. And so I want to concentrate on those things for production of shows. Number 7 is the book. So I want to complete my Profit Engines book with these 13-stage model that I've built out, connecting it by having a coaching community and an academy. My action plan is just to really dedicate on the writing schedules for the next couple of months, dedicate 2 to 3 hours a week on getting this done. It is in process. My first meeting will be for next week, and that will be a great way to start to develop and design the architecture around the book, which should be out in the spring. If all things work together with the folks I'm working with to develop the book. Outsourced the activity for the writing, which is done. I've tried to write this myself, and I've written it to a certain degree. I've written 160 pages of this book, but now it's time to get someone to commingle it and summarize it and then get it into production, which I've already selected. And then integration, again, supplementary materials, the workshop, live events, booking into our academy, which is going to be developed as part of this. So it's sort of an all-in-one encompassing strategy. Number 8 is to level up my friendships. One of the biggest things, and I look at where I am today, and I look at who I've connected with, is really build these world-class connections with people and expand my network of mastermind groups, while strengthening, the current relationships I have with all the cool people that I've met. There's so many people that happen to connect with. I went to a great event this year. And again, networking events, attend and speak at these industry events. Again, I'm looking at 4, let's just call them events to go to. That's 1 each quarter. And then actively reach out to my top friends, and not just in the business world, but also in the, my history of friendships I've had for collaboration and check-ins. And then look at really 2 solid, meaningful coaching environments that I will be engaged with to look at me moving myself forward in how I work. One will be in the professional side, and one will be in the I would say entertainment side, or coaching for development of speaking, and so sort of a performance coach and a business coach. So those 2 things wrap up that high level friendships, and it's not just, again, friendships from a business perspective, but it's my personal relationships, and catch up with people, the top 10 friends that I rarely get to spend time with because of just the business of life itself for everybody. And we all need to reinvest our time into the assets of having these friendships, since we all electronically seem to be sort of stewed into that connection. And it's nice to physically connect with people, which is a plan of part of that strategy. Number 9 is showmanship. And so this kind of tracks back to my original theory around living louder, which is to really add some difficulty into finding some material from the music side that is difficult. So adding 10 difficult songs, or I would say medium difficult, not something that's beyond my capabilities, but that stuff that I can actually accommodate to enhance my stage delivery for more meaningful performances for myself. So that, when I get off stage, I say, phew, well, that was amazing. Like, because I actually got through some difficult material. And I know the general basic principles of what this means for me, which is that it's hours and hours of repeating the process of learning the things that would come sort of naturally as you get better, which is the ability to use memory of my physical attributes and my mental capabilities to memorize the difficult rehearsal sections. And these are all parts of time that can be completed that need to be fit into the days and weeks that are going to be moving ahead. Uh, Again, song selection, rehearsals, allocating the time during the week to perform these activities, and then working with the coaches to perform those, let's just call them difficult arrangements. It's something I have as one of the 10 goals because of the fact that it really does focus like a laser on beyond just my soloing skills, but it gives me the ability to really focus on having a specific measurable result. And that's part of the goals. The next and the last thing is family activities. So we want to make sure that we plan 4 meaningful trips for the family, planning and blocking off this time in our calendar with the kids to coordinate everybody. It's very difficult with college and events and things that with especially with the growing teenagers going to adults, they seem to be like herding cats because they're going on to their own lives. So we need to select these destinations and prioritize these locations, and then really offering relaxation, connection, and adventure. Really getting back into making sure that we're coordinating as a family and getting those things done for the world that we live in that goes by so fast. Seemingly, here we are, December 30th, 2024. So those are the top 10 things. So you could use this as your own way to think through your mantra and your top 10 goals. And I call it the Living Louder Plan, which is really about living louder, living a life worth living, living a life worth going after, excitement, adventure, and leaving the world a better place for those who follow. Hope this is helpful. We'll catch you next year at this time, hopefully, with even a grander plan.